Okay, let's get it started. What's up, everyone? Welcome to this December and last Linea Developer Community Call of 2025. We're super excited to have you here. And for the next, I think like less than an hour, we will get a lot of topics, a recap of 2024, and yeah, a lot of things are happening. But before we start, let's do a quick round of intros. So like we are here, like we're always growing. Linea Devil is growing. We're super excited. Gwen, welcome. But Sushmita, you
Hi,
wanna get
thank you.
started? Yes, let's
Yeah,
do it.
yeah, definitely. I'm Sushmita. I've been at Consensys almost 2 years, and I'm a DevRel engineer, part of the DevRel team. And yeah, I'm currently focusing on Linea and looking over the content and all the DevRel stuff. But yeah, that's mostly it. I'll hand the mic over to Gwen.
Hey, very happy to meet everyone. So I recently joined a few weeks ago Consensys in the dev team. So I will be here. I will be mostly focused on Linea. So I'm happy to be here to speak with the developer community on Linea and with the broader community here. So very happy to be part of the team, and you can ask me if you have any question. I'm active on Twitter. You can see me also on Discord, on Telegram, everywhere.
Nice. So are you ready, like for people to send you, like, please get me some Lina ETH at 2 a.m. in the morning? Huh? That's the
Yeah,
main.
yeah.
Awesome,
If you
awesome.
want some simple Yaisin during hackathons, you can find me around. I will be happy
Nice,
to share some
nice,
simple Yais. Yeah.
nice. Yeah, we're super
That's
excited.
that's what we are here for, to send
Nice.
Sepoliate. Linear
Exactly.
Sepoliate.
Exactly. Support developers all the time, right? And I think we're super excited. Like, this year has been kind of like a great growth, technically speaking, ecosystem speaking, like partner speaking. And I think like, this community call, we really wanted to focus to really bring different topics, but also like really like recap and kind of like digest all the things that are happening. And the person that could not doing it better will be like Declan that will give us like a quick 2024 recap on the technology side, on the ecosystem side, though, this is actually super exciting. So remember, quick housekeeping, guys. Like, if you have any question in the chat, feel free always to ask your question. We're trying to go always in the chat and respond to any questions. Also, like, if you feel like you want to kind of like GM from any country, like we're always like excited to see how many people are joining those calls and where these guys are from. Cool. So let's get it started. So we'll get Declan on stage. Then we have also like our latest consistent investment in Nile Exchange, and we can also speak a little bit about like taxes. And we will have North and Trentor. So we're super excited to have them in the call and explain us what's going on. And then nothing. We will just finish up with some quick recap and some outlook of what is happening in the next quarter. So one thing that we're always repeating all the time, why we're doing those linear developer community call is really like quite straightforward. And feel free to add Sushmit and Gwen, right? But we really want to have a monthly cadence showing really up what people in the community are building, who are we partnering with, and really giving you like what we've been working on, like engineering wise and ecosystem wise. Really like show and not tell, right? Really like showing what even hackathon winners and people in the ecosystem are building with Linea and around all the ecosystem of developer tooling around Linea. Cool. So let's get it started. We will invite or anything to add before we're moving over. I mean, are you feeling like those calls are useful for you guys, Sushmita and Gwen?
Yeah, these community calls are how we get in touch with our community and like being transparent about everything. So super excited to share all
Yeah.
the latest things that we have.
Yeah,
Yes.
especially before Christmas, because for me, like Christmas holidays is yeah, it's a time you go, you see your family, but you also have a lot of time to think about what you want to do next year, right?
Yeah.
So having this
Yeah.
call, you can have new ideas, you can have new
Oh yes.
hackathons ideas, and
Yeah.
some stuff you want to hack around during Christmas
Yes.
holidays, right? So
Yeah, and we tried always to combine those calls with like different things, right? We're always building this linear like live coding session. I think last time with Sushmita and the team we built something specific and yeah, and deployed on linear. So there is a lot of things happening. Cool.
We
Without
have a live coding session scheduled tomorrow
oh,
also.
nice. Yes, we need to send a link also over post call or here in the chat if anyone wanna join. Okay, so let's get Declan on stage. Declan, how is going? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I think you were doing a tea. Are you back?
I'm back. Do you want to see my look for the community?
Nice, nice.
Look at
Ooh,
that.
love
Oh,
the fox.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
the meta? We are we did last call on MetaMask card with Daniel and Bax and Simon. I was really cool, and now you're on team.
Yeah, I'm here. Great to see all the community in the chat as well. Good morning, everyone.
Oh
My
yeah, yeah,
fellow
I see.
frogs, Foxy, Limpus, GM.
I see a lot. I see a lot. Okay, let's get it started. Declan, do you want to share your screen? But I mean, let's follow the flow. But really, like the idea here is that we bring everyone like an idea of what really happened in 2024. All the shipment that we did now. It's what like I still remember going mainnet back in was ECC last year, right? And
Last year, yeah.
so many things happened during that time. And even like this tweet that you pushed today about kind of like the gas fee and the transaction costs. Like it's quite impressive, like being ahead on the layer two architecture. I think it's extremely important. But let's digest everything that happened. Do you have a deck that you want to share?
I do, yes. Let's see how to work this. So Christopher was supposed to be doing this today, but he had such a great time talking to Joe and Murad on the meme economy that he's worn out. So um, you will
Nice, we
have
can
me
see
instead.
it.
You can see it. Okay,
I
maybe
think people are used to. I people are used to Declan. You're literally like coming almost like every month, and without
I
you,
know
will be like no having update. I think it's definitely like people are looking forward to that.
I'm the regular.
Yes,
Okay, so you can see the screen, like it's the full screen. It's not.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Um, yes, I guess quick intro for those that like haven't joined before and haven't met me. So I'm Declan. I lead the product team. Um, there's my Twitter handle if you want to follow me for updates, mostly on the product and technical side. Francesca just mentioned one tweet that I sent this morning. We actually had a really cool milestone, which was Linea now has the lowest layer one cost per L2 transaction, which is kind of like a niche metric, but it's a really good way to measure the like cost effectiveness of the rollup. And so Linea is the lowest now, despite, as Francesca mentioned, we only launched mainnet July last year. So in the space of a year and a half, we've already got to the most cost efficient rollup, which I'm super proud about. That makes me really excited. I know some people think that's probably lame and not as exciting, but for me, that's an amazing achievement. So yeah, definitely give me a follow for more super cool, nerdy, facts like that, essentially. Um,
These are the best. I wish more people were doing actually like a true landscape kind of situation, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, so dive in. So yeah, lots happened this year in 2024. Tried to break it down a few categories. First, we were everywhere this year, traveling all around the world to many different events. I hope some of you like caught us up in those events as well. And if not, then definitely try and head to some of them next year. I always think it's personally really valuable to meet in person in real life. We spend a lot of time on chain, a lot of time online, and it's always good to not necessarily touch grass, but like meet each other in meet space and connect and learn about what problems you're facing as a developer, as a builder, how we can improve. So yeah, really recommend trying to get to one of these events next year, or like if you always go, then yeah, I'm sure you'll appreciate how amazing it is. So yeah, some of the ones that we managed to get to this year. This isn't an exhaustive list, but some of the big ones, ETH Denver, which we'll be going to again next year. So that was at the beginning. Token 2049 in Dubai, ETHCC again. This time it was in Brussels, which was nice because it was the anniversary of when we launched our mainnet back in 2023. So ETHCC was quite a special one for me this time. Token 2049 Singapore, which is really cool. I didn't manage to get to that one actually, but I heard lots of good things. DevCon Bangkok, which was awesome, so awesome because it really felt like the ETH community coming back together. Obviously, Linea is a really key part of the Ethereum scaling roadmap, and so it's really nice to get together with some of the other Ethereum researchers and developers, engineers, product people, and just kind of like talk about the future. So that was super cool. We had lots of voyage waypoints. So what the voyage waypoint kind of became a nice way for us to get the community together and talk about like all the different things that we're working on, like just for Linea. So in amongst all these sort of bigger events, it was like our designated almost like side event, and it got a lot of great feedback. So yeah, really some amazing voyage waypoints this year. I think the one at EFCC was my favorite in Brussels, and lots of SheFi summits as well. So we had a partnership with SheFi, which is a super cool community trying to onboard more women and transgender people into crypto. Maggie is doing an amazing job with that community, and it was super cool to like partner with her for the SheFi summits. I think I have a yeah. Okay, we have some videos.
Coming here, you can sense the energy. We're all on a common mission, and it's almost like we want to see everybody win, even though we are competing sometimes.
It is inspiring, I would say.
If you know you can't do something, you can reach out and everybody's always happy to help. So it's always nice to be part of the community.
Like, don't just show people the ropes. Really help them to be experts in what they do.
The people are really warm and welcoming, and no one will make you feel like, oh, you don't know anything, you're dumb. So just make the jump.
So I've been participating in these activations, and at the last ones I always make sure to do all of the on-chain quests. I think it's a really fun way to actually use the technology, have people start transacting on-chain.
Web3 it has given me a lot of opportunities. I want to show that opportunities to other students as well.
We do need more innovation, and we do need quality innovation to make crypto better.
Blockchain is here to stay.
It's what the future's going to be.
Nice. Whenever I see these videos, I'm always like super excited. So cool.
I spotted you there, Francesco, in one of them.
Oh yeah, we were. I think it was the builder night when we had Vitalik. We tried to kind of spice it up things. When you remember the question that he's starting to mention only layer 2. I think it was type 2 or something from January onwards. I think we're good. We're good in this timing, right, for Linea?
Yeah. We're type 2 at the moment. The goal is to get to type 1. We basically just need statelessness on the L1. So if you ever hear about like Verkle trees or anything, and there's a few groups now discussing this in the Ethereum research and development community, once we add that to the L1, then Linea will like become a type 1 zkVM, which means for people will be able to prove Ethereum blocks directly. So like Linea could literally be used in Ethereum to like prove an Ethereum block, and then you on your phone will be able to receive that with a zero knowledge proof and verify it, so your phone can become like a validating node, which is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big value proposition also for node runners. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, in real life was awesome, but we also did some amazing things on chain. Stretching from Linea Park, which is all about gaming. We had the dev cook-offs, every monthly hackathons, which are still going now, and obviously Francesco Sushmita and has been doing a great job running these. We had the Linea Voyage, the Surge. We had the Guild games, which is super interesting. I love the Guild games personally because I got super nerd sniped into playing unfettered, and probably didn't do that much work that week, but I was determined to beat Christopher, and I think just about did it in the end. Culture season, which is around NFTs, and celebrated some of the art with our partners at Phosphor, which is an awesome NFT platform. We had the Life on Linea campaigns as well, so trying to encourage people to share content around like how they're using Linea and how they're building on Linea, and I saw some great videos there as well. And then one that we just sort of announced recently with MetaMask is the Crypto Holiday Challenge. So like the MetaMask card is obviously a big part of Linea ecosystem, and it's going to be a real huge sort of application to bring more people on chain globally. And this is just a way to kind of share the different ways that you're like spending with the card basically for the holidays, and you can win quite a nice reward. It recently went up to I think like $200. So if you share a video of you buying something with the MetaMask card, you can win $200, which is a pretty sick deal. So yeah, lots of on-chain activities just to kind of engage everyone in the community, give them some fun things to do on chain, help display some of the really cool applications as well that we have on builders we have on chain. So yeah, really happy with that.
Hey, Daniel, Declan, there you are. We have it ready. We're speaking with Daniel. We're launching now in Latam. Like, we're super excited. So many people also in Brazil. I was like, oh, let's do it.
yeah, I have a slide on the card layer. We'll go into a bit more like the expansion because I'm super pumped about the card. I talk about it all the time.
Yeah, and for next year during Dev Connect, because we know Dev Connect is in LATAM, right? So we'll be the card
Hopefully.
working there. So
It's
yeah,
it's in LATAM. I actually didn't know that. Is that true?
I think it's in South
Well,
America. Yeah.
yeah, hopefully,
Oh, there you go.
Buenos Aires. Let's see.
Wow, it's an alpha there. That would be awesome. Okay. Uh, yeah. So product updates are my favorite part. We did some really cool things this year. One of them was proof of humanity. So this was our sort of, at the time, very innovative approach to trying to give people a number of different ways that they can attest to their proof of humanity or proof of personhood. And this was like super successful. We had many people do this. So thanks for kind of like participating in that. We're going to be building on top of this to kind of as a foundational layer for what will become like a future, digital on-chain identity primitive. And I'll talk a little bit more about this, but obviously our partnership with ENS that we announced just yesterday, they're obviously huge in the on-chain identity space, and so we're going to be able to partner and really make this a key part of bringing more people on chain. Alpha V2 as well. So we had, some of our like cost reductions to make the linear fees come down. It's amazing to kind of see the progress in a year because at the beginning of the year, before 4844 and before Alpha V2, the fees were quite high. You're paying sometimes like more than dollars for a transaction, which is of course like way too expensive to be on chain. We're trying to scale Ethereum and we need to make sure the transactions are cheap. To now where like, I can go and like spend on my card and it cost me 1 cent this morning, which is like insane. So to kind of see how far we've come, thanks to all these product updates, some amazing engineering, not only just from the Linear team, but obviously from the Ethereum, R&D team as well, because like 4844 was mostly an L1 sort of delivery item to add the blobs so we can use blob space. But yeah, all of these things mean that now we have transactions on Linear, block times of 2 seconds, so it's super fast. It's going to get faster. Transaction fees of like average less than 5 cents, and things like spending on a debit card are just 1 cent, or sending ETH is just 1 cent. Like this is amazing. This is like the vision of scaling Ethereum. Like we're really doing it now. So yeah, super happy with that. Bottom left we have the linear subnames. This was super cool. So actually, I think we were like the first one to do this on chain. You could like get subnames off chain, but obviously that's still centralized. It's not really the ethos of Web3. So what we were able to do is like work with ENS, and we integrated something called CCIP read, which means we're able to trustlessly resolve subnames on Linear back to the ENS registry on Ethereum itself. So you could go and claim your, Declan.linear.eth or whatever, and actually you got it for free as well if you did proof of humanity. So that was like a really nice sort of combination that we thought of. And that means that you can like go into MetaMask now, and you can like put Declan.linear.eth and like use that as a way to like send money. That's not my name, like ENS name, by the way, but feel free to send money there. Which is just a much better user experience. Like human readable names are a much better way than typing in like 0x, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5x, whatever. So yeah, that was a big win. And we're going to see the ENS team, like how we can continue to evolve, on-chain names and on-chain identity. And then eFrogs, a big shout out to the eFrogs. They were like, I love the eFrogs community. Obviously, like I'm part of that community, but one of the reasons I think it's amazing is because they're always looking of like ways to like push the frontier of like permissionless innovation. And so they actually worked with us to, make it such that your eFrogs NFT automatically had like a subname. So if you own like eFrogs 520, then 520.efrogs.eth would automatically resolve to your name on Linear. And then if you were, for example, to sell your eFrog, which why would you ever do? But let's say you did do it, then that name also moves with the sale of the NFT. And this is just like super cool stuff. So yeah, I'm really happy with that one. These are kind of like cool things at the sort of middleware layer that enable more use cases. And then lastly as well, like just recently we did Alpha V4, which is our last alpha release before the beta V1 one in January, which is going to be a huge upgrade. So Alpha V4 was just about security, gas enhancements, preparing us to move forward in our L2 Beat stage framework. So like those that aren't familiar with L2 Beat, it's a super cool website. You can go there and you can see the maturity of different rollups, and you can see Linear. Today we're at stage 0. And so this sort of roll up really prepares the way for us to start moving towards stage 1. Okay, and stage 1, then stage 2 is the last stage. So we're like really progressing, not just on like the performance side, making transactions fast, making them cheap, but also making the technology more secure and like more sort of censorship resistant as well, which is the whole point of scaling Ethereum. So yeah, what else do we have? Oh yeah, and on the scale side as well, yeah, we continued with Bezu to push the performances. I think Linea has the best performance out of any EVM L2, which is around the 15 megagas per second mark. We're going to continue just to hit that quarter over quarter and increase it until we get to 2 gigagas per second by 2027. That's the goal. So that's something like 20,000 transactions per second for those that use TPS. Yeah, so that's sort of like moving the Visa network on chain just on Linea, which is awesome.
This is really cool, Declan. On this, like, what is the biggest kind of like developer or node runner feedbacks? Like, I think like obviously like optimizing per quarter like gas fee per sec is a must. But are there other like kind of variables that you see these are the feedbacks that we need to get on point?
From the node operators, the feedback's been really good. We also have this cool. It's more than cool actually. Like the client diversity of Linea, where you can run like Bezu, you can run Geth, you can run Nethermind, you can run Aragon. Like no one else can do that in the L2 ecosystem. That's a completely unique thing to Linea, which I think is super cool. But yeah, the feedback around operating nodes has been awesome. The interesting part will be when we try and push to like the sort of half a gigagas target, because you have to think about things like state, which is obviously notoriously difficult when it comes to blockchains. So now we're in a good phase, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to work on features that are going to allow us to make big jumps. So specifically one feature that Alexander, our prover lead, published a post on the forums, I think this week, called the limitless prover. So the prover has to like count the limits in the execution when you're building a block. And we're going to be able to create performance optimization so good that we can remove those limits. And that means that when you're building a block, you don't have to count them. So you can build it much faster. And so we're going to be able to jump from, like, let's say 30 megagas per second all the way to like hundreds of megagas per second. So that's going to be like one of the first big unlocks we'll have probably Q2 next year.
Sounds
Okay,
good.
I'll keep going. Okay, I have another video. Nice. Big shout out to the creative design team. They're doing an amazing job with these videos. This was our rebrand. So we rebranded. We were previously quite like dark in our color palette and quite like techie, and we wanted to make sure that we're ready to bring more users on chain. So things got lighter. They got more like fun and yeah, obviously focused a bit more on like the key benefits of Linea, which is things around payments, around identity, around security. So yeah, hopefully everyone enjoyed that rebrand a few months ago
Really
now.
like, yeah, the music is always on point.
Absolutely. Okay, how do I?
And
Okay.
we have like 7,000 people with us right now.
7,000. Okay, this is our Bangkok. We're starting to see that exponential increase of different minds coming together, and it's all because of the benefit of open source, of decentralization.
Everything that is available on Ethereum mainnet is available on Linea.
I'm very excited to announce the launch of the Linea Association, a Swiss nonprofit organization dedicated to the advancement of Linea's technology, adoption of its stack, and growth of the Linea mainnet ecosystem.
So for the first time ever, token holders will actually have protections and rights.
We're going to share most information about the token before it happens for feedback.
Come, have a voice, be a part of the community, and let's build this network together.
Yeah, so one of the biggest news, I guess, in 2024 is we announced the Linea Association, which is going to be a Swiss nonprofit. We're in the process now. So this was announced at DevCon in Bangkok about a month ago. and we're currently in the process of, moving people over into the association. It's going to be responsible for, advancing the technology, the linear technology, advancing the linear mainnet ecosystem as well, and then it's going to help sort of execute the rights for token holders with the new linear token. So big responsibility. It's something that's completely unique, actually. I don't think it's something that Cam, who's our governance lead, is working on a sort of, propose a blog post which is going to outline how this is so unique in more detail. The TLDR is that there is no sort of DAO today where like token holders actually have like legal protections and rights. And so this format of the association means that every time a DAO member or token holder actually puts a proposal forward and it gets approved, then the liability actually gets passed on to the association, the board of directors for the association. So that's a super unique thing. I think that will make participation in the DAO really positive, because one of the feedback that we got is that people are always hesitant to participate in DAOs because of that sort of legal liability. So yeah, something unique we've worked on, and yeah, just in the process of kind of getting the logistics ready, and then obviously looking ahead towards TGE as well, which is going to be super awesome.
I really like the part of like the association side, the token rights. I think that's definitely like I think like if you have both side, like from the token holder and also like the investor side, I think it's kind of like guaranteeing more kind of like defense mechanism. I think it's really solid.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'll keep going. Let's see. Boom. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so big announcement yesterday. Linea is partnering with ENS to can support Namechain. ENS will be joining as a core contributor to the technology, the zkVM protocol, alongside Status, who we've had on here, I think 2 or 3 community calls back. SIP came on and talked us through Status's plans, which is just like super incredible news. Like I'm so like excited about this. The conversations we had with the ENS Labs team and the DAO were just like really, really encouraging. We both have like the sort of values, I think, of ENS and the Linea are like super aligned. Again, because both teams are sort of very like Ethereum in their sort of DNA, I would say. So yeah, I think it's going to be a great partnership. Lots of work to do. We're going to start having, lots of discussions around the roadmap, and in the new year we'll be getting together to kind of like, brainstorm on some of the cool features that will benefit Linea mainnet and also ENS and also Status and some other sort of potential partners as well. And obviously making sure that's all sort of Ethereum aligned and is really supporting the Ethereum roadmap itself. So yeah, really, really happy with the ENS announcement. Please give it some love. Yeah, and it'd be cool to have sort of like Linea community members, like Frogs, Foxys, all our different communities combined with all the .eths of ENS. So that's something I'm looking forward to seeing as well. Some other dApps and partnerships, because it was just a whole year of partnerships. I mentioned Status there in the sort of middle left. Lido right at the beginning. We did a lot around derivatives of ETH. So one of the first big sort of L2s to have staked ETH, sort of ETHify, wrapped ETH, Renzo, many others, KelpDAO. So it's really cool to kind of see that ecosystem flourish. The Uniswap contracts were officialized on Linea, and there's teams like dapdap who've created awesome like front ends that you can then go and interact with Uniswap on as well. Turtle Club, which is a really cool community that's making it easy to get like extra yield on your DeFi. Super talented, innovative team, and really excited for what they're doing next. Chainlink, of course, big sort of player in DeFi, and we also announced Chainlink support with CCIP very recently. And then super recently, we had the announcement with Nile, which actually came from the sort of the Consensys side, where they put an investment, a public liquid investment into the Nile token. And I know we have the Nile team on today, so I won't front run that conversation too much. But yeah, super excited about that, and how that's going to help us sort of accelerate some of the amazing projects and work that's happening on the Linea ecosystem. So, okay, coming to the end, so I won't take up too much time. The MetaMask card, like, really cool product. Really excited to see this roll out across the globe. So obviously at the beginning it was UK and Europe only. Feedback was super awesome. I've been using it a lot. It's amazing. We're going to be finding ways to make it even better, like adding more cashback, adding more spendables, adding more rewards. It's going to be better than any sort of Web 2 card available on the market, and it really is going to bring more people on chain, like new people on chain. And of course, everything's powered exclusively by Linea, so that's awesome. Yeah, and so the announced that it's going to be rolling out into LATAM just recently. So obviously with the Linea crypto card holiday program, it's in, was it Mexico, Brazil, and one other LATAM country, and then expand to other LATAM countries in the future. And there's even a sort of US pilot that's happening as well. So the idea is to get to every corners of the globe. People keep DMing me like, when this country, when that country. We will get there. It's every country is unique and different, so just be patient. My one request, if anyone's out there and wants to have like a project, like a digital scratch map, which has like the countries scratched out, like if the MetaMask card is available there, like that would be an awesome project. Like anyone who does that, you will get all my votes in any sort of hackathon or anything. So yeah, it's been
Nice
great.
wish list.
Yeah.
What else? What else, Declan, do you think is on your wish list on that?
On the card front, the big one, like it's more ambitious, but privacy. So making it easy for people to like get access to the card. Something that I'm sort of interested in the moment is like payroll. So like one cool way to on ramp is obviously like your salary to go on chain, but obviously at the same time people don't necessarily want everyone to kind of know how much money they earn is going on chain, right? Because the public blockchain is public. So people working in the sort of privacy and the confidentiality space, if you can like build a primitive so that like your salary goes on chain, but it's still done in a confidential way, that will solve the onboarding, and it will make it really easy for people just to like live their life on chain, right? Like salary goes on, I can buy groceries with the card, I can have a savings account there because I'm going to get yield. Like, I can use all the different DeFi primitives to get a better yield on my like USDC or my GBP, because we'll try and onboard more local stable coins. Yeah, that kind of stuff is super interesting to me at the moment, because it's very like normie friendly. When I speak to people who aren't in crypto, like what would they actually use crypto for? That these are the kind of things that come to mind.
Nice, nice. I was actually speaking with during the call with Daniel, right? And we were speaking about reward system, and like building on-chain pure off-ramping. I think is opening up like a new world of like compatibility between like rewards. So any dApps builder can actually build rewards, and you already have all the track record of like like rewards and different kind of like interoperability between different chains. So I think like this is not just the door of off-ramping, it's also the door of unifying rewards between not just different chains, but also between different apps. Because right now we have such a siloed rewards system right now, not just Web2, but also like in Web3, right? And I think this is kind of like the key to actually unify rewards. So I think, and then what you're talking about is all the attestation, and I think it's also like coming, and that's super exciting part.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there is stuff cooking there, which I'm really excited about. But yeah, to kind of quote Daniel, so Daniel is the guy that leads the MetaMask card for those on the call. It's sort of save, spend, lend, borrow, win. Like that's all the things you'll be able to do on the card, which is, yeah, super nice way to kind of simplify all the different things you'll be able to use this for. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Oh yeah, so of course we announced at DevCon that there will be a token. So the plan is to launch a token by the end of Q1 2025. What's been really cool, I'll stop sharing now. Yeah, so one of the things that's been awesome actually is that the community has been posting lots of proposals on the forum around like different ways to do the airdrop, which is something that we put a sort of RFP out for. I checked this week because there's so many. I think I counted like 30 different proposals, plus some of the ones that have been DM'd to me and tagged on Twitter. So I've started to go through them. I've started to respond to some of the forums as well to kind of clarify a few different opinions. Some creative ideas, some crazy ideas for sure. Definitely some different opinions and sort of like motives going on. So my plan is to then sort of summarize what all the different proposals that I've seen, and then sort of play that back to the community in like a post that I'll try and do before Christmas, basically, just to kind of bring some clarity on the situation. So yeah, super excited about that. We're doing a lot of great work to kind of make sure that that is a big success. As obviously it's a huge moment for the community. So as soon as we have the sort of like the tokenomics and stuff like close to being like in a version that we can like share the draft of, then we'll putting that out. And so kind of like
Yes.
yeah, hopefully January, like hopefully as soon as possible, of course. But you know I will only promise you something as soon as I know for sure, because I don't want to give any false deadlines. So yeah.
Nice, no, makes sense. What are like and feel free to jump in, anyone, but any kind of like design debates, directions that you see this spinning out? Because I think like we will get more and more in a position to be more like focused, right? I'm super excited, obviously, about everything meme and payments. But do you see architecture-wise like different kind of like layer two narrative and architecture decision that will be debated more and more in 2025?
Yeah, great question. I think what I'm seeing is we're sort of catching up a little bit on the L1. So we've always had this vision that the linear technology itself, because it was a zk VM, like a proper bytecode compatible zk VM, and I mentioned this earlier, it could actually be used directly on Ethereum. And so this used to be called like enshrined rollups. It's recently been sort of like renamed to native rollups. I think Justin Drake did a sort of Bankless podcast on this recently. Linear technology will be perfect for something like this. So I really do see at the end of 2025 the conversation around using the technology to have the rollups more closely aligned to Ethereum. Something that Joe likes to mention, he sees like Linear being like the sort of mezzanine of Ethereum, like the upstairs, that sort of, so bringing the rollup even closer to the L1 and really sort of doubling down on making Ethereum great. So I think the conversation around native rollups, whether that's based or not, will be sort of like one of the key conversations to have in 2025. And I think we'll see the real acceptance that ZK is the only scaling solution. So I think the optimistic will be like not talked about at all, probably by the end of 2025 is my other prediction.
Nice, nice. Yeah, it's very interesting. Like, I think definitely we need more also like consumer-facing apps being built also by developers in general, right? And I think when we're speaking about even Polymarket, that people even didn't know where was this deployed, right? Like all this kind of account abstraction tooling. I think that's definitely like interesting. And I'm also excited about Verax in general, right? When people are doing the IDs, the apps, and stuff. That's also like very interesting. Any kind of like developer tooling that you think like we are popping out like for 2025 for the developers here hearing?
Oh, you mean like improvement, like what developer tooling improvements could we
Be,
see?
yeah, kind of like this
Mm,
constellation. Like for example, Verax for me is super interesting, right? Because right
yeah.
now it's much cheaper to deploy to, and also like for transaction, right? Being deployed already on Linea, it's something super interesting. But I
Mhm.
mean, tooling wise, I see already like a lot of things happening, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think one is the like really leaning into the whole like AI agent use case. Uh, I know it's very popular already, but I think like making it super easy to create more like AI-driven experiences on chain. I think AI is going to be a huge driver of on-chain transactions. Um, and so it needs to be twofold. People need to find it easy to create like agents or sort of use cases using AI, but then obviously like the wallets, the chains need to get into a way to make it secure for these like AI agents to actually interoperate across chains as well. So
This is so interesting. Yeah, we were
yeah,
literally speaking with Sushmita, Gwen, and the DevRel team. Like we are like researching to build like an AI agents already deployed on Linea and leveraging the MetaMask SDK. That's actually like super an
yeah,
exciting topic.
yeah. I would
Okay.
love to find the time to dive into like A16Z or something.
Oh
The
yeah,
AI
yeah.
16Z one.
We're
Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually planning like a live coding session on actually building your first like agent like from scratch with some of those frameworks. I'm definitely super excited about that.
Yeah, we are actually exploring the ELISA, and like we are trying to see how we can explore and like deploy a transaction to Linea using that. So that's what the develop team is currently going on about.
Super cool. Yeah,
Awesome.
you have to let me know. I'll join.
Nice.
Definitely.
Yeah, we're always trying to break things, and kind of like building in front of everyone with the demo gods, hopefully with us. Um, cool. So let's. I think we're getting there, but let's actually like now invite North and Trent on the Nile Exchange. I think this deep dive is helping us a lot, and like they can feel free to also like stay. I think this discussion is all about like what and why like this investment happened, but also like most important, what is the Nile. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, but what is this exchange about? And deep dive how DeFi can be so important for also like 2025. So welcome, North and Trentor. And I think everybody's here. Let me see if I can share my screen here. Welcome everyone. Feel free to introduce yourself. We're super excited to have you guys here.
So good to be here. Love this discussion. It's really exciting to see everything that's happening in the ecosystem. Quick intro for myself, and I'll let Trantor introduce himself. But co-founder Nile Exchange, and then as was mentioned with the Turtle Club, core contributor at the Turtle Club as well. That LP syndicate.
Nice, welcome.
Hey, I'm Trento. Fantastic to be here. I'm just looking at the chats. It looks like well over 10,000 people now watching. Just goes to show how exciting not only what we're doing here, but just Linea more broadly. So great stuff. Yep, Trento, you can see from my PFP, also a member of the Frogs community, although I've had to amend it a little bit just to put a little bit of an Egyptian flavor on my e-frog there. But no, big in Nile Exchange. A lot of business development in the last sort of couple of years with the kingdom, and really focused heavily on Nile now with some of the exciting stuff we've got going on with Linea and Consensys.
Nice, super exciting. I think like this is definitely like one of a huge kind of step forward in terms of like not just investment, but also like alignment in the tech stack. And so what does this mean for the community today? Or actually, let's actually give a quick like context to the people. Can you just run through like, why, what is Nile Exchange? Like, how is kind of like different compared to other kind of exchange dexes, and what's the role around like DeFi today?
Yeah, I just wanted to correct Trantor because he said close to 10,000 people. And I think if we eliminate foxes
right.
and frogs, it's mostly foxes and frogs, Trantor, in this audience.
You did
So
right. You did right. Sorry.
Let's be clear. But yeah, so deep. This Consensys investment. Thrilled to have it. That support. But for the community, the bullish thing for everybody is it's not just a clear commitment, only to Nile, but it's also the whole ecosystem, and I think we can explain a little bit why. And it goes beyond, our close partnership with the eFrogs and Pond.Fun, which never to be underestimated is the power of memes, and similar in part to how ENS is this abstraction to make onboarding and interaction easier. The MetaMask card is a way to make onboarding, interaction, financial freedom easier, more accessible. Similarly, memes are a way for people to, for an easier, onboarding and interaction for people to, experience the technology and all the things that those of us who are builders in DeFi are really deep on. It's such an easy way to get involved. So thrilled with the Pond.Fun, partnership and how that liquidity flows onto Nile. We just wanted to give a quick history of, if you're asking like why Nile, I just wanted to give a quick history of how DEXs work, because liquidity is the lifeblood of really everything. Even when you're talking about NFTs, certainly meme coins, core, financial products like the MetaMask card. If there's not liquidity, and that's not able to, function as an engine efficiently, then everything grinds to a halt. And a good example would be if you go or look, L2Beats was mentioned. If you go and look at chains that don't have liquidity, there is no activity, right? The TVL is low, the volume's low, and therefore the participants are low. So just a quick history on liquidity and leading up to, why, this investment, made sense, why we're thrilled about it and what the future looks like. So with DEXs, there's this concept called, the DEX trilemma, meaning three problems that have to be solved by a DEX. And economic, like efficient economic design that balances and can align the incentives of the different stakeholders is just as important as the code. And so, a quick history, of some of the failures that have happened is that every DEX, if you think about it, has the same goal. They want to capture as much volume as possible by delivering the best trade execution. So when people show up, they're able to execute a trade, do what they need to do, and they're able to do it, at the most efficient, cheapest, execution possible. And so to deliver on this, DEXs have to attract liquidity providers. So people who come and are willing to say, here are my tokens, and for the traders to be able to trade. So the first rev of this, or the earliest solution for DEXs, was just balancing the incentives of two parties: the traders that wanted to come and trade, and the LPs who said, I will give my tokens in exchange for something, right? If I let you guys, trade these tokens. And so the liquidity providers, deposit the tokens to support the swaps, and the traders then pay a fee to those liquidity providers. Super simple, but also had really clear limitations. And the first of those was the returns for those LPs that provided their tokens. They were capped at 100% of the protocol's fees. And so you say, okay, well, that sounds fine. Well, the problem is that left those first version of DEXs susceptible to what are called vampire attacks, which essentially means, DEX A is giving 100% of its, protocol fees to the LPs. DEX B comes along and says, hey, we're going to add some premium, right, with our own token. We're going to mint more of our own token and give a premium to our LPs, 1% more, 2% more than DEX A. And then what happened early on is all of the liquidity would then go over to DEX B. And the famous one is the sushi swap vampire attack on Uniswap. And within 10 days, if you go back and look at the history, it's really fascinating. But within 10 days, Uniswap had responded and cranked out all the legal work necessary, and then launched the Uni token so that they would be able to compete. So that subsequent collapse, it illustrated why those tokens, if you're using them as incentives, they need maximal utility, and they didn't have it. So they need maximal utility because what we've seen over and over again is that tokens of all types, when they're used in incentives with limited utility, including governance, which is often a meme, they're just sold, right, immediately, until they can no longer be effective as an incentive. They just dump too quickly. So Curve came in. Now comes V2. Curve comes in and says, we're going to give the CRV token some real, that had immutable utility. We're going to direct 50% of the protocol fees to those who are willing to lock the CRV token. And we're also going to give them the ability to direct emissions. So this was huge, right? This allowed Curve to retain the ability to boost their LPs with a token that also had a credible use beyond just incentives. Because remember, if you just do it for incentives, it dumps to zero. You lose that, the power of that token. So, but it also struggled because that balance of giving 50% to the token lockers and 50% of the LPs was imperfect. So liquidity providers are only getting 50% of the fees. So CRV had a harder time giving a meaningful premium. So because this CRV voters were incentivized to vote for the most productive pools, the rewards to lockers just didn't add up, and ultimately followed a similar path to sushi. So that intractable nature of this, this DEX trilemma is that there's no way around. There's no free lunch, right? If you're going to give to the LPs, you are going to have to take from the traders. If you're going to take from the traders, you have to give to the LPs. And so an example is when we talk about like the Uniswap fee switch, if they were to do that, that immediately requires the redirection of fees from LPs to the stakers. And how they fill that gap, remains to be seen. So the simple thing is LPs would leave, right? Because they're no longer getting the rewards. So now we come to Nile. If that quick history gives you a sense, why Nile? Why this investment? What it means for Linea and this ecosystem? This is where what we call ourselves a meta dex, right? This V33 style dex. If you just stick with me for 1 second, you'll know more than most people in DeFi, dramatically so. So the meta dex solved that problem that came with Uniswap V1 and then Curve trying to do locking by aligning the incentives of all three stakeholders: the liquidity providers, token lockers, and the traders. So liquidity providers, they get on Nile the token emissions proportionate to their productivity. So if they're willing to provide liquidity where it's active, not just dead liquidity, dead TVL, but if they're willing to provide liquidity where it's actively used by traders, then they get their portion of the token emissions, which is Nile. The token lockers, the VE Nile, lockers, they get 100% of the value created as incentives to optimize it. So basically, they vote for ETH/USDC, and they get all those fees to them, and not in the form of Nile, but they get the actual USDC, the ETH, right? Those the trading fees that are paid out from that. And then the traders, they ultimately, because the LPs and the token lockers, their incentives are aligned this way and balanced, the traders get the best execution. So what you see is that rather than rewarding insiders in these backwards looking ways, with permissioned or privatized emissions, with unlocks, things like that, this model maximizes growth, ensures that the tokens flow to the current contributors, and it maximizes utility by ensuring that ownership flows to those who value it most. So it becomes a positive sum instead of what was before a zero-sum game. Where this shows up is that anywhere a MetaDex is deployed, it wins. We see one metric we track really closely is fees to TVL. When we go head to head with, not Dinosaur, but earlier models, right, that don't solve this DEX trilemma, we end up getting more fees per dollar of TVL than they do. And so you say, well, why does that matter? Well, it matters because when you're trying to compete as an ecosystem against all these different L2s as Linea, you need to have the most capital efficiency. And frankly, you just can't do it with yesterday's technology. You have to do it with the new, innovative, and proven and growing fast winners on the tech edge, and that is the MetaDex. Another comp you can look at is Aerodrome and Base, how those two have worked in concert to create, a really strong and fast-growing ecosystem. We're doing the same here with Linea.
This is very good. I really like also the MetaDesk kind of like naming, and I think that's something also needed. I think also like you guys kind of like are restructuring all the fee econometrics, right, around LPs and providers. Question around kind of builders, how do the builders can contribute on building or extend feature on the DEX, or is there kind of like a builder angle on top of this? Feel free to jump in, either North or Trevor.
So I think it's a good question. I mean, by having the VE aspect there itself, so the VE NFTs and how you can actually use those, there are a variety of different options. So again, there's a lot of DeFi sort of applications. You might look at the ability to actually borrow against VE NFT positions. You might look at auto compounders. You might have a variety of different protocols who want to use, I suppose, some of the key aspects of the way Nile operates more broadly. But you can also look at a whole bunch of lending and borrowing platforms too for looping strategies, for how you can try to build looping to allow people to do really a variety of different things with their liquidity and with their capital. The key, I suppose, is it's to sort of riff a little bit on what North said, but without I'm not necessarily tech, but if you think of the idea that and I always use this as my visualization, that liquidity flows through the Nile, and I mean that really, it's corny, but by saying something like that, we can sort of think, okay, by having these votes go towards the most productive pools, we're going to be drawing in capital of these productive pools, these productive assets like ETH, bringing those in from all over DeFi, all over a variety of different chains onto Linea and creating that built-up energy, if that makes sense. So this extra rewards that we can provide to it, which is what has occurred with this Consensys investment, we actually get that extra energy to sort of build out not only the ecosystem, but also build out how much other interested parties there are to sort of build on top of the DEX itself. So I know it always sounds a little bit corny when I use that line, but to me it helps because that latent energy is something we want to really attract through to Linea, because it's that energy which will not only allow more builders, but will also allow some of that extra energy to go across to meme coins, for example, provide them with additional liquidity and have more and more eyeballs go there as more and more people start to earn ETH, USDC, etc. So I think that kind of answers it, although I'm sure I talked it around a little
Yeah.
bit there.
No, it's totally correct, right? I really like all the comments. I'm just checking, like people like liquidity flows through the Nile or something like. It's really cool. Like, no, it's definitely like an interesting also like concept that you're bringing also liquidity and kind of reward system to dApps developers and builders around the ecosystem. That's very exciting. Sounds good. Anything else to add? How can people kind of get involved? Um, how can people get involved in Nile? Like in general, we are almost on time here.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, I mean, look, there's always Discord, right? So come across to the kingdom. But first place to go is Nile.build and to have a look. You can also, of course, any number of the frogs. I'm more than happy to chat to. Well, to be honest with you, plenty of them know us well enough. They can actually give you some advice on how to use the Nile. But look, to me, I think once you get across, you have a look at Nile.build. Have a bit of a think about that DEX trilemma that North talked about before. And then just keep in the back of your mind, and this is the part to me that's the most bullish. You've got through Linea and Consensys, you've got a MetaMask card that's coming out. You've got name chain, you've got ENS, you've got all these developments. You've got the best tech really in any of the L2s is what is already here. We have that resident. What we need now is that latent energy. We need that liquidity injection to come in to get all the rest of the eyeballs from DeFi back onto Linea, much like we were when we first sort of launched. And that's really what we're all about. So people who want to learn more about the Nile, to my mind, are also learning about how to build Linea hand in hand, going together at the same time. So for those individuals, this is those who are the hyper loyal, I suppose you might say, hyper loyal Linea users. Those are the ones
Nice.
that are buying the Nile, VE locking, and getting ready to go, because they're going to be locked for 4 years and they're going to be interacting with the chain every single week, claiming rewards, farming, doing all the good stuff. These are the power users, and that's everybody who has really got Nile and locked it. So those who are interested in doing that, those power users, of course, come along, check it out. Feel free to lock your Nile, not financial advice, of course. But it's just a real opportunity now to get involved more broadly in growing the ecosystem. And that's really what this Consensys investment's all about. It's locked. It's going to go on the most productive pools, which is going to draw in that latent energy and really help to supercharge the whole ecosystem. And we're just very proud to be a part of that. So there you go. I know we haven't got much time, but that's my bullish or froggish or Nile-based message.
Very
For sure.
froggish, bro. Very foxes, very froggish. And also, you can follow us on Twitter. I try and bring the concepts, some of the macroeconomic concepts, and some of the purview we have over all the L2s and everything that's happening with Ethereum, down to a level that's readable, understandable. So if you're just entering, hopefully that's educational. So you could just see my Twitter handle right there at NorthPool9, and hopefully you can get some good value there.
This is so cool, very froggish, very foxyish, very everything. I think we're super excited also to have you guys also be part of this journey. I think the ecosystem is growing and we will see a lot of 25 25 movements. So let's say that. Awesome. Okay, cool. So thank you so much, North. Thank you so much, Trendor. And we will also send a bunch of links post the community call. So always feel free also to either send it in the chat or send it to us, and we will just get everybody an overview of what's happening. Okay, I will untangle you guys and we'll share quickly because we're almost on time here. Let me just check here. Where is the okay, sounds good. So Okay, so guys, so thank you so much. Did you guys enjoy the Gwen, Sushmita? What was your best part? And then we can get finalized here.
I think like we got a like a suggestion or question. It was way down. Someone said that guide on AI agent would be amazing. So I just want to say on that is that we are already working on that. So after the holidays, I think because now everyone is in the holiday mode, we'll have our first AI agent intro guide published, and after that you will have more deep diving and we want to go more in depth into that. So yeah, we are working on that. The development team is on that.
Yeah,
Nice, nice.
yeah, that will be also my read during the holidays. I want to deep dive on this A16Z AI agent and all the AI agent around. And also thanks a lot. So I read all your comments. So always very nice to see we have such a great community here. We had like an amazing amount of messages and a lot of comments. So I know it's like every interesting ideas you can share in the chat. So we can have like some great tutorials for you and some more great events and great community calls. So
Oh yeah, and for sure we're not going away, right? People can just DM and reach out and even write in our Lina Discord and ask any different questions. Also to remind everyone, like also we receive all your like Lina Dev Cook-Off submissions. We are kind of like judging and we'll get with the announcement soon. For the people that didn't know what the Dev Cook-Off is, we're basically running every month this virtual developer hackathon called Linea Developer Cook-Off with different topics, different kind of like co-bounties. And this month was all about attestation, Emira protocol, and Verax, and obviously deployed on Linea. So there is a lot of things happening, and we're planning also to do that for 2025. And yeah, so I think we're good to go. Also, like make sure ask your question. We will send a lot of links post community calls, and we will also like send a recording for anybody that has any question. Our doors are always open. And I also want to say thanks everyone that organized this call. There is a massive work in terms of like outreach and getting things done. So big round of applause for everybody that was behind the scene here. And thanks to Anton Sushmita. And anything else to add before we're closing up?
Nothing much. It's just like Gwen said. If you have any builders and like content idea or anything you want to learn or know, just feel free to ping us. Maybe on Twitter, maybe on Discord, like Telegram, anywhere. We'd love to help out our community and teach our community with the builders content.
yeah, no, nothing else on my side. Yeah, so yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Again, I read all your messages, Le Mysticat and Bill Good. So
Look,
I know you too.
awesome, big love. Okay, so awesome, thank you guys, and I see you guys probably next year in January. And if you have any ideas you want to contribute, or you just building cool stuff and you want to come and present in the next Linea Developer Call, feel free to DM us or reach out in Discord. Awesome, thanks everyone.